Hello everyone, I'm Ryan Carpenter with Ryan Aaron Photography and welcome to my studio today. So today we're at one of my favorite clients. It's called Mission and Market here in Buckhead, Atlanta, Georgia. Love these guys. This is our setup. So, love the blue colors. Today we're going to be shooting with a Canon R6. Here's our first plate already brought out, so we're ready to go. And today we're going to be using one light. That's how I started photography, and that's how I want to show you guys how I started. One light can get you almost any results you really need. So today we're going to be using one light with one of my favorites, the Godox 8600. I'm going to be putting on this softbox, and you're going to see here in a minute. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so first things first. I have my light set up here. Now, I use an Angler boombox. I think this is a 47-inch. It does not have to be this big. When I first started out, I had like a 30-something inch. You could find them on B&H Photo. Use sites like KEH Camera, and you can find yourself a 30 to 40-inch softbox for under 100 bucks. That's all you have to get started. And again, I'm using the Godox 80 Pro 600. Now, I did not start off with this light. I just used a basic Canon off-camera flash that was like $200 with the trigger, and that's all I needed to get going to get you started. But today you're going to get to see this version. My favorite food lens out there, a 100 Macro Pro with image stabilization. This is one of my favorites. Tight fitting, but it gets the job done. So let's get into it. Using one light today. Now, Chef Ian makes dishes look very pretty, and he makes my job easier. This won't always happen, so maybe in the next shoots we'll get into more about food styling, how you make it look. So I'm a very free-flowing guy. When you're doing photo shoots, I always suggest slow down, be calm, breathe. No one's watching you. A lot of times I used to feel like I'm Tiger Woods on the hole 18. Everyone's staring at me, and you got to get the shot done. Just take your time and get your lighting right. So the first thing I do before I even mess with composition is make sure my lighting's right. And so how I do that is I mess with my aperture, my shutter speed, and I normally keep my shutter speed at 160. I never lower it past that, and I keep it around 200. It just keeps the light looking nice, keeps everything in focus, and that's where I start. For food photography, aperture is also key. I want to keep a lot of things in focus, unless I'm getting one of those macro shots. So I normally keep it at a 9 minimum. Normally the average is about 11. So you got to get enough light to come in and hit that. So we'll talk about that more, and I'm going to show you why, okay? So I got my entree here, my subject. Doesn't talk, doesn't move, but it stays pretty. My light, as we talked about, the Godox, I always set it kind of adjacent, giving that nice soft light that comes in and falls off, making an intimate scene. And we play around with the power of it. All the way from 1/1 of power or all the way down to 128. So I'm gonna stick about 1/8 of power. I'm at F9, 160 shutter speed. Let's just kind of see what we're looking at. First, I like to adjust the light and get that right, and then we start messing with composition and getting the shots that we want of the food. So let's see what we have here. Hold on, I gotta learn to move this around. There we go. So we get our focus where we want it at. There we go, and that. Let's see what we got. Not bad for a first one. Okay, so on the screen, as you can see, we have, let's see it. We have a nice light coming in from the top right corner, and it's a nice harsh light, and as you see, the shadows kind of fall off on the back side. So you're seeing that there's not much light there. Now, some clients like this. You're good with this. You can do a little bit in post-editing to lighten that up, and it just gives that nice intimate look, very colorful. You can brighten up the colors. Let's see what happens if we tone up, if we brighten up the flash a little bit. So let's go from 1/8. Let's just go all the way up to 1/4 and see what happens without messing. And then let's go to aperture 10. See the difference? Harsher on that right side. You can see a little bit more of the blue. The table kind of comes out in color, and it filled a little bit. So what we can do now is let me bring in a reflector. Cut it real quick. Hopefully it just stays up. All right. This right here was one light. See that? Very nice. Now, these can also be bought easily. Different sides. You could do a diffuser. You got the gold side to warm stuff up, or a white side also to kind of give you more of a softer edge. So right now, for brightening it up, I'm just going to keep it on the reflector side. And look, you can already see. Can you see that on the camera? See how much it already reflects that light? So imagine this is going to bounce off of this and fill in these shadows to give it more of a even, not as contrasty look. Now the fun part is at a restaurant, you don't always have room to put a stand somewhere. So it's good to have an assistant, an extra arm like me along, or you just ask, if you're nice to everybody at the restaurant, you know they can get someone to help you out real quick. Me, I'm gonna go ahead and just do it just like this. Let's see how we look. So you should notice that it fills in. See the backside? There's less shadows, and then in the video, hopefully they show you the comparison when you have the reflector when you don't. Now again, these are conversations you have with the client. Sometimes you can fill that in post. Other times, if you really just want to have it ready to go and more even, that's it. And again, we're at 1/4 the power, f10, 160 shutter speed, and this is what we have, you know, before post and editing. So you can really make that look nice. So this is really how I get started. So now that I have my light where I want it, and we're using this the whole entire time, I'm kind of steady. And you may have to adjust it here and there, but I normally keep my shutter speed where it's at, unless you're doing some kind of action shot, which we'll have to get into later. But I normally keep my aperture where it's at, and my light power exactly where it's at. So I'm good at 1/4. And again, we may adjust it here and there as needed, because then sometimes the light's different from an above head shot, a certain angle, if you move your light. And the best part about food photography is you don't have a person waiting on you, sitting there. You can move the light around, you move around, you have fun with it. Remember to just breathe, have fun, always bring your water. I bring a speaker sometimes to listen to music, and if it helps, I sometimes bring headphones in so I can really listen and just get into the zone. Whatever works for your creative juices. But for now, we're in my studio, no headphones for me today. Let's get rolling. So obviously, a lot of food shots are overhead. I'm known as, well, no one's ever called me this, but I'm known as the shoeless photographer because I'm always stepping on the furniture and I take my shoes off. I think a good gift would be to get me some photographer slippers that say Ryan Aaron Photo on it while I'm stepping on stuff. I'm gonna lose the reflector for now. Okay. Oh, yeah, yeah. Looks good, looks good. Let me get one more for this. Now, once again, I don't know who's watching this. I'm about 6'2" with some really long arms. If this isn't the case, you might want to get a good step ladder because sometimes it requires this. And again, I'm using the 100. You can do this with the 50. I'm just biased. I love the 100 the way it makes it look. If you have a 50, you can get much closer. But me, I don't want back problems. I want to stand up nice and straight. Oh, it's not on. I like that harsh light. Sometimes I like that. It brings out the colors. It's fun in post-production. I'm so used to just free-flowing. When I'm doing a food shoot, especially when I already have it where I'm going to shoot it at, I always try to offer the client 3 different perspectives of the shot. One far away angle with some lifestyle. We don't have it in right now, but normally I'll have a drink, a glass of wine, a bottle of wine, a cocktail or something in it. I do an overhead shot if it allows for it. Now, certain shots like burgers, sandwiches, certain things like that, you can't do an overhead shot. It doesn't make sense. And then I try to do a macro, which again is why the 100 comes into play, because you can get very close with this macro and tight shot. And it depends on what kind of scene you're trying to create. I'm always trying to create a scene here. I love the beautiful blue of this like suede furniture with the table, and it really just brings out certain elements. So as you can see in it, I love the white of the plate, how it expands to the colors. Get a little glimpse of the blue and the table. It just kind of gives a nice little tasteful story. And again, in post-editing, you narrow down those photos and see which ones look best. It doesn't always work out. Sometimes I do every shot, I'm like, that's great. I get to the computer and I go, well, dang. So, and again, I do different angles. So we already shot this angle. I'm gonna back up a little bit so I can get more of the chair. There we go. So this is more of a scene. So now you can see more of the silverware, the food, a little more of the backdrop. And then again, you're kind of setting up a shot. If you ever want to get a hand in there, you can kind of see how that might work. And we're just doing training. And again, I would highly suggest adding in like a bottle, glass of, wine, And again, you ask the chef, what is it? And if it makes sense, then I go, what would this normally be served with? If you don't know, they might say white wine. You want to make sure it's served with the right and proper drink. So now I'm going to actually move the light and then get a different angle, okay? My favorite thing is harsh light. We'll get into that in the next one. Is that blocking it? No, that thing's so cool. So as you can probably, can I see in the camera, right? So this is for a tight macro shot. So as you can see, you're taking out all the elements of everything else, and you just really want people to see the food. Now we can see it's very shadowed on this one side. So again, this is where we could bring in a reflector to really bounce that off while you're comfortable with one light. Or you can move the light around a little bit more if you want. Grab it. Man, you see me, whenever lights look like they're about to fall, I move faster than a parent with a baby. We're gonna hide that one. Good? So I brought the light closer. I want to bring this a little bit in. I raised it up a little bit because I want to try to overcast it. And again, you can seriously just set up that reflector right here and it will take all those shadows away and brighten it up for you. So I'm going to shoot it without it. A little bit better than the last one, but as you can see on that one side right there, you have a little bit of shadows kind of blocking it. Not too bad. It could probably be lightened up in post-production, but again, bring that reflector in and then we'll just eliminate all those shadows. All right, so I got the reflector, and again, you don't have to do this. A lot of restaurants, if your style may call for moody and you want to keep it. That is exactly how I started. Everyone always said my style was moody at the beginning and I loved it and I still go for it. It just brings out the colors and looks nice. But just for demonstration purposes, we're going to go ahead and show you what happens when we bring this reflector out to fill that in. And again, a reflector doesn't always work. Again, even if I had a tripod, where am I going to put this at, you know? It's a little tight fit. There are smaller ones. And again, I didn't bring it with me, but you can also just get a little white cutout cardboard that you can get from any art store and just place it right here on the side, which is a lot easier. I just like to make things difficult for myself. Or I just like moody. I can already see it lighter from the reflection. Let's get in there tight, huh? Let's just see where we're at. Will the flash go off? Flash, close-up shot, take two. There it goes. And voila. Look at how much brighter that is. That reflector really just bounced it off, filled in the shadows, brought a little bit more out, and now it gives you a little more play. Again, that doesn't always have to be the style, but now you know. One light, one reflector, you can really get a lot of different shots with that. And I'm gonna keep showing you the different looks we can get with just this one light, because you don't always have to have this modifier on it, this big softbox. We're gonna start getting into different looks and different angles and a hard light, which is my favorite.